Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media account. Also, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, this week is going to be a very crazy, volatile week because we have FOMC. But before I get into that, the put to call ratio right now is not extreme levels at 0.65. Put side is fairly low, but it can definitely go a lot lower on that. So but we could probably end up seeing probably a choppy next couple days, maybe even a run up, because we usually like to chop or run up a little bit going into FOMC. We'll have to see if that actually happens, but put the call ratio right now is put flow is pretty low, so we could end up seeing more upside a little bit to kind of get it lower, get everybody more on the call side before we actually get a rug pull. We'll have to see. So that's the put to call ratio. Now the economic calendar is let's see, Monday, don't see anything. Tuesday, existing home sales at 10 a.m. Wednesday, don't see anything until FOMC. Now we have Powell speaking in economic projection, so this is going to be a very, very expensive SPX day. Usually whenever Powell is speaking lately, the spreads are like 100 points, and at the money is like $20. It's really, really crazy expensive. So get ready for that. SPX will be expensive at FOMC. Now, not quite sure what everyone's expecting. I think everyone's expecting either a no rate hike or a 25 basis point rate hike. But what if they come out with 50? They could shock the market, and the market could take a dump. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Sometimes when you think something's bearish, it ends up popping. When you think something's bullish, they end up thinking it ends up going the opposite way. So you're going to get like 2 or 3 moves. You're going to get the actual statement move at 2 o'clock. And the projections, then Powell's going to speak at 2:30. You'll get a different move there, and then at the end of the day, you'll get another move on that. So it's going to be a very, very crazy day. You're going to have to be there. FOMC is something we're really, really good at, and you just we play it very well. So you got to be in the room for FOMC day. Now Thursday, the economic calendar, we got unemployment claims in the morning, and Thursday, Friday, we have flash PMI, flash services and manufacturing PMI on Friday morning. But also this FOMC, we have banking collapses too. So, it's going to be a double-edged sword. Rates go up, banks could end up having more failing, and if they don't raise rates, inflation's going to go up. The Fed has really backed themselves into a corner. They're going to fall on a knife no matter which way they go. We'll just have to see what the market likes and what the market doesn't like, and just go from there. So it's going to be a crazy FOMC, and it's going to be very volatile. So just be ready for that. Now, I got VIX. Look at VIX. VIX just this past week, it's just rocket, dump, rocket, dump, rocket. This is just crazy, crazy action from the VIX. Look at the hourly. It's just very up and down. So we'll have to see what happens. If VIX gets over 30, we're going to end up seeing a very, very strong push. But it's going to be very dependent on what happens with FOMC. It's going to be dependent what's going on with the banks, if they're going to get bailouts, or are they going to get bought, or anything like that. So something could happen that could definitely change everything. That's why you need to be there in the room day by day. Now, we covered VIX. To me, VIX gets over 30, we get bad news, we're going to end up seeing 40 pretty quickly. So we'll have to see what happens. I think it's going to be very dependent on what happens. SPY, I think we'll chop a little bit unless we have news going into FOMC, or even slightly go up. as of right now, we get over the 395 area, we're going to probably push to 400, 405, even 40 to 407 area, which is right here. But we got 405, which has been pretty good, solid resistance right there. So we can see a push to 405 for FOMC, and or even 400. So we'll have to see. But I mean, look at the look at the daily. You get this drop, and you get a bear flag. So it also keep an eye on underneath 385. It gets underneath 385. You can see 380. 380 has been a pretty big area between 380 and 378. It's been getting bought. So definitely something to worth looking at right there. Underneath 380, probably get, if it does manage to flush under 380, that could go to 378. If that breaks, I mean, you got down here at the let's see, 375 a little bit, then 370. But like I said, it's going to be hard to predict which way the market's going to go because of the FOMC. We could chop for the next couple of days. We could stay in this 385 to 395 range, which is $10 range. It's still a big range, but I mean, we could stay in a $5 to $10 range until FOMC, and then when FOMC drops, I mean, we could go either way. I mean, we could be at 400, 410, or we could be down to 370. So just literally gambling right now. That's why you just need to be in the room and just take it day by day, and we'll be ready to play both sides based on what happens in the pre-market. We'll just go from there. Now, BA is stuck in its weekly channel still. It dipped out a little bit. Right here in the weekly, it dipped out a little bit. It quickly got bought back up. I was thinking, okay, we were going to drop more, but it bounced right off the weekly 20 EMA. So now I'm kind of leaning towards more of it popping now, because I initially was looking for the drop. RC3 trend line's popping up a little bit. The 20 EMA, it bounced off from. So if it gets over this 215 area, we could see a push out of BA, a push to 220, 225, 230, even 240. So BA, I don't count it out yet. So kind of flipped the script on that a little bit. I mean, I initially thought we were going to come down here and retest this trend line, which we still can, but it gets over 215. We could see a strong move out of that. So definitely keep an eye on BA, either direction, to be honest. I mean, even if you wanted to look at the put side, I mean, you can look at it underneath 198 for the put side for a push down to maybe 190, 185. But I think that we might get a push over 215. If it does, it could be a strong one. Microsoft, I keep looking at this, the candle, the full body candles outside the Kellner channel on the daily. And whenever you see a full body candle out, like right here, pulls back, right here, full body candle pulls back, here it pulls back. So me, I'm thinking we're going to pull back. Testing the top of the Kellner channel on the weekly. Definitely looking at the short side on Microsoft. So I would watch it underneath 276 for a push to 275, 270, 265, even 260. I definitely like to see a pullback on Microsoft. So I don't like seeing candles outside the Kellner channel on the daily. I'll even pull it out a year, and you can see no full body. Let's see, is there any full body up here? Yeah, right there, pretty close, and then pulling back shortly after. But it does not like to be out of the Kellner channel for too long. That's why I'm looking at the short side. NVDA, I'm looking at NVDA, same thing outside the Kellner channel, but it had like a nice little what do you want to call it? Shooting star right here, if you want to call it that, or just inverted hammer outside the Kellner channel. So I would watch it underneath, lower days 257. So I would watch it underneath 255, push to 250, 245, 240. 240 is going to be a pretty big area, because you can see it's a pivot right in here. So then we get 240, then you get 230, then you get a gap fill below the 225 area. You get 210 right down here. Could definitely fill the gap, but I don't think so. I think it will probably end up holding right here, the 225 area, but get some room down on the NVIDIA downside. So definitely keep an eye on that. Last one's Tesla. like remember what I said in the beginning of the video, that everything's going to be dependent on what happens at FOMC. So it could void out everything. So just keep an eye on that. NVIDIA, you know, I'm kind of Tesla. I'm kind of leaning towards an inverted cup and handle right here. You know, I can even say a head and shoulders. You got a left shoulder right there, the head and the right shoulder, or you could just say cup and handle, the cup and the handle. If it does get down to 165, we could end up seeing some downside on Tesla down to 160, 150, 145. Got a gap fill down here at the 140, 150 area, so you could see a 140, 145 on that. So I'm kind of looking at the downside a little bit, but you could also say that Tesla's one that likes to make it look like it's going to be going down and dropping, that just ends up just squeezing the opposite way. So, but that's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now on Tesla. But we'll have to see. It dropped below the 20 EMA on the weekly, and it dropped underneath it, came back up, retested it, but it rejected slightly. As you blow it up, you can see it right there. Top of the wick rejected it, so that's why I'm kind of leaning towards more downside. Plus, we get gaps to fill, and if the market dumps, this could end up going with it. So, not gonna look at too much this week. Like I said, all eyes will be on FOMC and what happens with the banking too. So, it's going to be an interesting week. You don't want to miss it. So, and that's going to do it for the watch list. Thanks for watching.